Today, I'm going to be doing some solo winter hammock camping. Pretty excited. It's about 39 degrees right now. It's supposed to get down into the 20s tonight, so it's going to be a good test of my current setup to see how it does against these winter temps and these cold winds that are coming in. So let me get everything out of the car, let me get set up, and then I will walk you through my setup and kind of my plans for tonight and how I plan not to freeze to death tonight. So now that I've got the hammock set up, I put the fly on. It's not supposed to rain tonight, but it's more just to keep the wind out because it is pretty windy. It does have snaps at the end and tie down so that you can kind of cocoon the hammock, and that's part of why I like this hammock so much. It's all in one. It all comes in that one bag. You've got a fly, you've got a bug net, you've got everything that you need, including tree straps to be able to get set up for a night in the winter, summer, whatever time of year it is. You can use this thing truly in 4 seasons. So next we need to get our underquilt out and our pillow and get that stuff in the hammock and get the underquilt attached. Another thing that I always bring that I really like is this Get Out Gear down blanket. It's pretty teeny tiny, about the size of a water bottle, but it will actually make a big difference in my sleeping bag as far as heat goes. But I always like to have this thing with me because it adds a few degrees to your sleep setup when you add it on top. The down just kind of insulates you from the outside air. So again, small footprint, pretty reasonably priced. I'll put a link to all this stuff in the description below, the hammock, the underquilt, the pillow, all that good stuff. And then as I mentioned too, just to make sure that I'm warm, I brought some of these chemical hot hands that I can kind of throw in my sleeping bag, and they just heat up with the air and they will help keep you warm. All right, so let me show you all this stuff here. So again, this is the Wise Owl Outfitters pillow. I actually did a review of this, so I'll put a card up here. If you want to go check that out in a little more detail, kind of see all the features and that sort of stuff. But essentially it's just a fold flat camping pillow, right? So it comes in this nice little bag, got a little handle so you can kind of throw it around and it makes getting the pillow out easy. Boom, it's full of memory foam and then it will expand. It has kind of a velvety side, smooth side, and it's cleanable. This is actually zips off, this cover will, so you can actually wash it. So really like this pillow, big fan of it for the size. And as I mentioned, the Get Out Gear down blanket folds up super small, but keeps in a lot of heat. Has sort of a waterproof cover on it. When you pull this thing out, I mean, I'm 6'2", and this thing will cover me up completely when I'm sleeping. And then last but not least, we've got the underquilt. Now this is one of the most underrated and most important pieces of my setup. This thing will actually go on the outside and will create sort of an air break between the hammock fabric material and my body. So it makes a huge difference in insulating you. I've used this in about the mid to high 30s and it's made a huge difference. So again, I'm going to try it out tonight. I'm going to see if I freeze to death. We'll see how it goes, but I will let you guys know in the morning. Also, I've already done a really comprehensive how to install this thing and how easy it is to set up. So I will put a card up here to that as well. If you want to go check that out, feel free. I'm not going to tell you all the details in this video because I've already done it. If you want to watch that video, just go check it out. And then once you've got your underquilt on, the nice thing is it's going to kind of hang there. And then when you get in your hammock, you're actually going to kind of sink down into it. So you don't want it too tight, because your body weight is going to push the hammock down into the underquilt. And actually a few videos I've watched from other YouTubers that do a lot of backpacking say that you want it a little bit loose so that it does kind of create that air gap between the outside air and your body. So I just kind of leave it a little bit loose on there because again, I know I'm going to sink down into it, so it should look a little bit something like that. All right guys, so solo winter hammock camping has commenced. I just got camp all set up, got some firewood cut, and got everything set up. So I'm going to walk you around my camp and just show you what I'm dealing with. Try to be pretty minimalistic, but also comfortable. I brought a fridge, so I'm going to show you that. Here is the hammock setup. Again, I've just kind of thrown the fly up over the top. I will zip that down tonight just to kind of keep the wind out, keep the wind from penetrating. But so this is my night owl all-in-one hammock. And I love this thing. I've got just a regular old one of my kids' sleeping bags. Actually, I've been keeping this in the car because my main one is actually in the rooftop tent in the truck at the shop where it is. That one's a 0-degree bag. This is like a 40-degree bag. So that may be my main sort of limiting factor tonight. So that is the hammock setup. That's what it looks like. Over here, I've got my storage. So this is my Uddy. I've done a review of this thing. I love this thing. I will put a card up here in the corner if you want to go check it out in more detail. It's basically like an S-hook here on the top with these adjustable little hooks that run down it. So you pull this little tab up, it slides up and down to make it as, split them as far apart as possible. It comes with multiple of those, but then it just has these little hooks. So like all my bags for my chair, my hammock, my underquilt, my pillow, all that stuff can just hang in one spot. Just found a branch there, hung it up, and then when I'm done, I take it. I don't have to put nails in trees or screws or do anything to damage the environment. I'm just enjoying nature, and then I leave 0 footprint. So I like that a lot too. So over here, I found some downed trees and just kind of cut them up with my chainsaw so that I've got enough little sort of firewood for the night. Probably not going to start that till it gets dark. I did bring my BioLite fire pit because I wanted to be a little bougie today. It's a pretty good size fire pit, so it does take up some room. But again, since I wasn't in the dedicated overland rig, I was just in the car, I had plenty of room in the back seat and in the front seat for both the little fridge that I brought, my little Joy Tutus fridge, and my BioLite fire pit. So I was like, you know what, I got the room, might as well enjoy myself. There's also a lot of leaves down on the ground and stuff, so I didn't want to risk any sort of like ground fire or anything like that. Everything stays contained in the BioLite, plus it's got a built-in battery pack over here that powers a fan. So, if any of this wood's a little bit wet, it has been raining here and stuff, that will help kind of stoke that fire and keep it burning nice and warm. It also makes it really easy to cook over because there's like a grill that goes on top. So I did bring that with me as well. Got my little G4 free chair here, which I love, and my little folding table, some fire starters. You got to have animal crackers. I always bring stuff like that on trips because, I'm here to have a good time. But so again, that's basically what camp looks like. Just a quick overnighter to see how this hammock does with the underquilt and all that stuff in low 20s temperatures. So we'll see how it goes, and I will report back tomorrow. All right, guys, so it is the next morning. It was so cold that I decided to just pack up and record my sort of afterthoughts on the winter hammock camping experience in the car where the heat is on. So I'm driving out of the forest right now, but just wanted to give you my kind of final thoughts here. So it was cold. It was definitely cold. So I had a 40-degree bag. That's my kid. If I'd had a better sleeping bag, that would have helped a lot. I did survive, obviously. My mouth is kind of frozen, so I'm talking a little slow here. But I made it. It wasn't too bad. So I probably woke up 4 or 5 times throughout the night. I went to bed about 11 probably and got up at about 7:30 or so. So I didn't sleep too bad. A couple notes. So the coldest part of me definitely was my feet. I do have wool socks on, but just one layer of wool socks. That's all I've got. So better than just normal everyday socks, right? But still not warm enough in 20 degrees to keep you warm. So what I ended up doing was stuffing a couple of hot hands down into each sock, and that kind of solved the problem. So that was my first few times waking up, was just the cold in my feet and trying to kind of rub them together and, get them warm. So then once I got the hot hands down in there, that helped a lot. That kind of stopped becoming a problem. And then the next piece was my face. Now, in my 0-degree bag, it's a mummy bag, so everything but my face is covered. In this, it's just kind of a normal old kid sleeping bag kind of a deal. So it was unzipped kind of up the side. It doesn't even have a mummy thing to kind of go around your head. So kind of my head as a whole was cold. So I put a sock hat on and had that on. And then I took my get out gear down blanket and I basically pulled that up over my upper body and all the way up over my head. And then that way my breath was able to sort of be retained and sort of keep me warm inside of there. And it also kind of blocked the light out, which was kind of nice because the moon was really full last night. So it actually kind of helped me sleep a little bit better. So overall, the underquilt made a huge difference. Having the top on the hammock also definitely helped. If I had a better sleeping bag, it would have been better. If I'd have been prepared for my feet, maybe worn a couple layers of wool socks and, put some hot hands down in there before I went to sleep, probably would have been good. It was not the best night's sleep I've ever had. It wasn't the worst either. So we'll be trying it again, I'm sure. But again, hopefully that was kind of helpful and you've learned from some of my mistakes. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to click that subscribe button, click the bell to be notified when new videos drop. I do stupid stuff like this sometimes, but mostly it's gear reviews and do-it-yourself mods and things like that. And just general newbie overlanding type content. There's also a podcast, there's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So down in the description are links to all those things. If you want to hang out on any of those channels, I'd love to hang out with you. So come hang out. I said hang out a lot. But again, thanks for watching. Post up in the comments with any thoughts, sort of feedback you have. or questions, and I'm happy to get answers back to you. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.